something melted. It was as if the entire glass of water had turned impossibly sweet, warm all the way through. The sugar cube sank to the bottom, slowly dissolving, turning the mundane into something saccharine. Caleb's mind drifted for a moment before he grounded himself, touching his ear as he tried to change the subject. He wondered what the difference between real and fun truly felt like. He was losing his grip on Liam. He had the unnerving sensation that things were spiraling in a direction he couldn't control, yet it was precisely the direction he had been anticipating. Caleb was trapped in a vicious cycle of wanting to take a chance while desperately trying to run away. He remembered someone once saying that to avoid an ending, one must avoid all beginnings. He questioned his own sudden hesitation. This was a matter of passion, something that had occupied his thoughts for days. He asked himself if it was worth all this anxiety. The bistro had started playing some indie folk music, soft and melancholic. Caleb spoke up, remarking that the artists on the playlist, with their endless songs of love and loss, sounded as if they had loved countless people. He pointed out that one look at their actual partners revealed the truth. They had each chosen one person to grow old with. Liam nodded in agreement, pulling his jacket open for some air. He suggested that Caleb was overthinking it. They were just the singers, while the lyricists were the ones with the real stories. Caleb remained silent, thinking of a line he'd once heard about how the listener feigns innocence while the writer is the most ruthless of all. Looking at Caleb's profile in the dim light, Liam was overcome with the urge to ask how many men he had been with. He knew Caleb preferred to be in control, but he was curious about the others. He finally voiced the question. After a moment of silence, Caleb admitted that the number of men he'd actually shared a bed with was small. He offered to tell Liam about the one who had left the deepest impression. Liam agreed. Caleb added a condition. Liam wasn't allowed to get jealous. Liam considered it, thinking it impossible, but still agreed, adding that he liked hearing Caleb talk about his life. Caleb put an unlit cigarette between his lips. He began in a low voice, recounting a time he was out for a business dinner and someone had ordered an escort for him. He corrected himself, saying escort was more respectful than the crude terms people used. That night in the hotel room, before anything happened, they had talked. The young man seemed to be in a bad mood and told Caleb a story. He had gone to the corner store downstairs to buy paper towels, asking the clerk for the best ones they had, explaining they were for his face. Just as he was reaching for a lighter, Liam leaned over and lit the cigarette for him. Caleb smiled faintly and continued. The clerk had given him the cheapest brand. When he felt how rough the paper was, he confronted the owner, who callously asked what the difference was between wiping his mouth and wiping his ass. The story had left the young man deeply upset. After hearing it, Caleb told him he couldn't go through with it. Liam interrupted, asking why not. Caleb took a long drag from his cigarette, smoke curling from his nostrils. He explained his reasoning. The man was selling himself for money, while Caleb was there for desire. He felt that, fundamentally, they were the same. Liam countered that they were nothing alike. But Caleb shook his head, insisting that Liam not try to talk him out of his conviction. At its core, it was the same. He confessed that his own family situation was also complicated. Liam took a deep breath, sharing that his father had been a very successful man in their hometown, which meant the expectations placed on him had always been incredibly high and exhausting. He stopped himself, not wanting to say too much, hoping only that Caleb might find some common ground. Caleb, lost in his own memories, simply asked if Liam's father was an entrepreneur, or if they came from a small town where being well off in the city was considered a major achievement. Liam shook his head, saying nothing. Caleb took his silence as a desire to drop the subject. He tapped the ash from his cigarette. For him, he explained, home was a place to rest and relax. If returning to a place made him tense and weary, he couldn't call it home. He described being spoiled growing up, treated like a little prince with parents who gave him the very best of everything. But being surrounded by the rich and powerful had made him cynical. Many of his peers had followed predictable paths, either joining the family business, going to study abroad, or escaping their parents' control entirely. He paused, turning his face to the window and exhaling a plume of smoke. He observed that the wealthy and powerful all shared a common flaw, an overwhelming need for control. As the words left his lips, Liam instinctively glanced down at his own hand, which trembled slightly. He wondered how he could ever tell Caleb that his own need for control, his possessiveness, was practically off the charts. It was a trait that had been there since childhood. Toys he played with were not to be touched by other children. He couldn't be forced to do things he disliked. And anything he wanted to hold on to, he would never let go. He had to be first in everything, refusing to fall behind. When it came to someone he cared for, the desire was to hide them away, to lock them up in the deepest, safest place where no one else could see or touch them. Right now, he wanted to bind Caleb to him. Liam suppressed the urge to reach out and pull him into an embrace. He slowly asked if Caleb was repulsed by that kind of control. Caleb replied that a particular desire wasn't an illness, but a personality trait. He believed that having no personality was the most frightening thing of all. He smiled, adding that it all depended on where that need for control was applied. Liam's hand shook as he answered in a raw voice that it would be applied in the right places. Caleb didn't say anything more, his fingers drumming a silent rhythm on the tabletop. 1, 2, 3. In some ways, Caleb was excessively progressive, a trait his friend Josh called living punk. For instance, his habit of taking artistic photos of his own body was enough to make most people blush, but Caleb just dismissed their shock as being dramatic. Josh had argued it was more than that, reminding him of the time they were street racing and Caleb was blasting some chaotic, clanging music. Caleb had corrected him, stating it was post-rock and Josh didn't know anything about it. The next time it happened, Josh, fearing for his life, didn't argue from the passenger seat, but instead gave in, riding the waves of sound from the back. On weekends, Caleb would retreat to the media room in his basement to watch movies. He was drawn to marginalized stories, and watching them underground lent an appropriate atmosphere. He used to be baffled by censorship rules that dictated stories about young love couldn't have happy endings, but now he understood. It was because people rarely get to hold on to things that are truly pure. Still, he disliked tragedies and overly bleak content. He felt directors weren't assassins. They shouldn't aim directly for the heart. Life needed to have some hope. He would often sit in the dark, watching beautifully shot films with witty dialogue. The camera would be frantic, and the characters would always be smoking, as if a single Marlboro could solve 1,000 problems. Occasionally, he would try to read the English subtitles aloud, his pronunciation clumsy but earnest. Often, by the end of a film, Caleb would be left with a deep sense of feeling and atmosphere, without fully knowing what the plot was about. For him, movies were about the vibe, the feeling. The story was never the point. He treated love the same way. After dinner, Liam got an urgent call from his precinct. His partner, Joe, urged him to return immediately. Caleb saw the anxiety on his face and knew something serious had happened. He told Liam he would get a rideshare home and felt a pang of concern. They were in a residential area on a small hill, a considerable distance from the 4th Precinct downtown. Getting there involved going through a tunnel and crossing a bridge over the river to reach the bustling heart of the city. There was a cobblestone lane nearby, and as Caleb walked Liam out after their meal, they strolled along it for a short distance. It reminded Caleb of his childhood, of the old-fashioned candy shops that sold saltwater taffy and spun sugar, while the shop next door sold sweet, flavored tobacco for hookahs that burned with a green tinge and packed a punch. The owner's wife was famously beautiful, known throughout the neighborhood for the dusty rose lipstick she always wore. Liam listened with a smile, remarking on Caleb's rich life experiences. Caleb said it was all right. He had also sold newspapers and handed out flyers. When he was 5 or 6, he even sold bootleg CDs in the park. His father, trying to teach his 3 sons about business, gave them 30 discs each and promised a reward to whoever sold them all first, with the condition that they couldn't come home until they were gone. It had taken him half an hour to sell his share. When he got back to the car, Josh had already finished a bottle of soda and was curled up asleep. Liam's gaze softened as he listened. He asked why, questioning if Caleb wasn't as smooth a talker as his friend. Caleb disagreed. He had been earnestly explaining to people what songs were on the discs, their features, their collectible value as official copies. Josh, on the other hand, had just run up to people, pleading with them to buy one like the little match girl. Caleb laughed at the memory. The entire afternoon had been so pleasant that Caleb found himself seeing a reflection of himself in Liam. He shrugged, a smile on his face, though the corners of his mouth drooped slightly. He confessed that he was actually terrible at things, that he lost at everything he did. Liam reached out and pressed the corners of his lips, trying to make him smile. He told Caleb, "You've won me." The man's voice was deep, laced with a captivating charm. Caleb felt a tingle run down one side of his body. He nodded, as if accepting the statement as fact. Seeing Caleb's inviting expression, Liam couldn't hold back any longer. His fingers brushed across Caleb's jaw before gripping it firmly, forcing his head up. With the river wind blowing past and the late spring sun warming them, Liam wanted to kiss him. "Stop. Don't get all worked up out here," Caleb protested, pulling away before leaning back in, closing his eyes in resignation. "Fine, you win." As if to punish him for his brief hesitation, Liam didn't kiss him. Instead, he bit the corner of Caleb's mouth, then gently sucked on his lower lip. The scent of sandalwood on Liam, mixed with his own raw masculinity, created a surprisingly perfect harmony. It reminded Caleb of the old tin clock by his bed with the ringing bell at the end of its pendulum. It too, every day, woke him from the abyss with the morning light, pulling him into a new day. As soon as he heard the incident was related to the 4th precinct, Liam headed straight for the hospital. His recent visits had become so frequent that his father was starting to question whether he should continue in this line of work. His informant, Nico, had also scheduled an urgent meeting with him that evening. Time was tight. A group of men, some in plain clothes, stood outside the inpatient wing. They were all familiar faces, Liam's former colleagues. A patrol vehicle larger than a standard squad car was parked nearby. Several armed officers, old acquaintances, nodded at him in greeting. The incident had involved the traffic division, and as captain, Liam had to oversee the entire situation. He followed Joe through a long corridor crowded with reporters until he saw his team member lying in a hospital bed. Joe explained that they had set up a checkpoint that day. A motorcyclist had refused to stop, accelerating and swerving to blow through the barricade, sending the officer and the guardrail flying. The officer's leg was completely shattered. Liam asked if there had been another organized street race the previous night. Joe was furious. He said they had impounded over a dozen high-displacement motorcycles, all several hundred cc's. He cursed the urban racers who tore through the city at night, calling it a death wish. He asked what happened to the driver who ran the checkpoint and who had approved the media release on the incident. Liam pulled the curtain around his teammate's bed and turned to Joe, asking quietly if it was true that someone had accused one of their officers of stealing money during last night's vehicle check. Joe sighed, remarking on the malice of people nowadays. The accuser had already admitted to making a false report just to cause trouble and was now in custody. He added that last night, 2 other drivers had gotten into a fender bender and blocked the road, refusing to move their cars until their insurance companies arrived. When an officer from the 3rd precinct tried to reason with them, they had bitten his arm. "I understand," Liam replied, his face grim, his mood sinking. Joe lowered his head to look at the medical chart, his voice choked with emotion. He lamented that everyone has families, siblings, elders and juniors to care for, wondering why people couldn't show a little more empathy for each other. Liam gathered the injured officer's uniform, placed it in a bag, and handed it to a younger officer, Finn. He instructed Finn to stay at the hospital for a few days, keep an eye on things, and call if anything happened. Finn, biting his lip in frustration, complained that a middle schooler had slapped him on the back of the head earlier that day. He had been on duty when some kid ran up, hit him, and took off. The story brought a slight smile to their faces, easing the tense atmosphere in the room. Liam asked what happened next. Finn stuck out his tongue, admitting that Officer Wu and the others had caught him. The kid was apprehended at the next intersection and was now waiting for his guardian to arrive. Dealing with all sorts of strange people on the road was common, but Liam had never encountered a kid so brazen. He felt his job was becoming more like a beat cop's. People now called them for everything from being afraid to cross the street to getting a flat tire. He patted Finn's shoulder, telling him to get some rest and not to overwork himself. Finn nodded, rubbing his forehead. He had been exhausted for the past month. The workload was immense. Being young and new to the force, he was finding it hard to keep up. He slumped onto a soft stool, tucked the blanket in for the injured officer, then left the room to speak with the nurses at their station. Now, in the private room, besides the sleeping officer, only Liam and Joe remained. Liam spoke in a low voice to Joe, asking if the surveillance and control systems showed anything unusual. Joe replied that the information on the fugitive vehicle had been passed to the detectives, and their job was just to observe. He added that vehicles with prior offenses had been flagged for them to watch out for in the city. He pulled up an image on his tablet. "Captain," he said, "this is a newly registered car this month. The owner has some connection to Mr. Caleb. Seems to be one of his cousins." Liam took the tablet, his father's name for Caleb echoing in his mind. He asked if his father had sent this. Joe confirmed, saying he was told to keep a close eye on it, as well as another vehicle, Caleb's Audi A6. Joe then pulled up a file, his finger tracing the screen as he sighed, mentioning that they were still trying to recover costs for recently damaged highway infrastructure. Liam's heart skipped a beat, but he carefully hid his reaction, making a mental note of it. Joe continued, stating that their precinct, along with others, had reportedly recovered over $200,000 in state property. "Good work," Liam said, patting his shoulder. "I'm on the front lines on the road, so you guys in the back need to be extra careful." Joe snapped to attention and saluted. Liam returned it, saying he had another matter to attend to and had to leave. Joe assured him that everything at the hospital and the precinct would be taken care of. The meeting spot with Nico was in an alley less than 500 yards from the hospital. Liam pulled on a hat and a mask, trying to blend into the crowd, but his height made him stand out. He had to detour through a bustling market before slipping through a small door into the alley. In the distance, he saw Nico waiting in a matte, olive-drab Jeep. As he opened the door and slid into the back seat, Nico cracked the window for him. He started the engine, looking back as he spoke. "Liam, you remember my bike, right? It was your old man who told me to follow them, and your own squad ended up impounding it. You didn't give them a heads up?" Liam took out a cigarette. He explained that his father hadn't even told the precinct who he was. Right now, only his father's inside man knew his true identity. Nico sighed, asking if the two of them were playing some kind of spy game. He wondered if it wasn't exhausting, being hidden away since childhood. Liam explained it was a high-risk profession. One misstep could put his family in danger. He was used to it and understood the necessity. He enjoyed the occasional privilege it afforded him, but he never slacked on his duties. Position and power, to him, were like scaling a great mountain. He admitted that it was impossible for a man not to be drawn to power, but watching his father stand so high, he understood that his father, too, was just like one of those small hills, ultimately insignificant in the grand, ever-changing scheme of things. They discussed the specifics of a certain underground club for a while. Liam listened with his eyes closed, committing every detail to memory. They had planted Nico in the circle of wealthy heirs for some time, but there had been no major moves from the club's owner yet. Liam stressed the importance of not acting rashly, and Nico nodded repeatedly, assuring him he would be careful. Nico slowly drove the Jeep onto the Cross River Bridge, sticking to the slow lane. With the business out of the way, he inevitably turned to gossip. "So, Liam," he started, "what's the real deal with you and this Caleb guy? Everyone's talking about him again. Hey, wasn't the former mayor who died in that car crash his dad? I mean, it makes sense that he's so well connected, being the city's little prince." He continued, noting that the aviation corporation Caleb's mother managed was no small entity either, and with the recent airport expansion, she was under a lot of pressure. Liam relaxed a little, though the Jeep's upright seats were uncomfortable. He adjusted his position, staring into the rearview mirror. "I've been around him a lot," he said, lost in thought. "He's special. A lot like me." Nico smirked. "Oh, come on. Caleb's just a flirt, isn't he? Who in our circle doesn't have a crush on him?" Liam's reply was quiet but firm. "But he only likes me." He rolled the window down further, the wind off the river forcing him to squint. Caleb was the embodiment of sweetness in his mind. A sweet face, a sweet voice, a sweet, petulant nature that was almost overflowing with sugarcane juice. Even his name was sweet. Whether it was maple sugar or honeycomb, Liam was willing to get stung. "Oh, Liam, you actually landed him?" Nico was stunned. Liam replied with a hint of annoyance. "What do you mean, landed him? Show some respect." Nico was confused. "Huh? What? I thought we were about the same age?" Liam cut him off, his voice sharp. "He's on my level now, understand?" He stubbed out his cigarette in the car's ashtray and narrowed his eyes. "Sooner or later, you're going to have to call him sir." Nico, being quick-witted, immediately understood and let out a knowing laugh. "Damn, I never would have guessed. You two are actually serious about this." Liam simply said, "There's no game. I was never going to let him go." The city's Cross River Bridge was part of the National Highway Network, a nearly 20-mile stretch with 6 lanes. Construction had started when Liam was 7 and wasn't completed until he was 10. He had only been here once or twice in his childhood. His hometown was in the next state, an hour's flight away. He remembered the second time he had been on this bridge, he had witnessed a horrific accident. A car had broken through the guardrail and crashed into a maintenance crew, leaving 5 dead and 3 injured. It was a brutal scene. He recalled his father telling him that day that while their city wasn't the largest or a federal district, it had the second highest number of registered vehicles in the country. Countless accidents like this happened every year. and tens of thousands of people built their lives around cars, their survival tied to the highways. A fog began to rise from the river. Nico turned on the radio. A forecaster announced scattered showers for the city that night, with a drop in temperature the next morning. It was rare for Liam to have a quiet moment to listen to the radio, but he found the female announcer's voice less pleasing than Caleb's. Nico caught the deep furrow of Liam's brow in the rearview mirror and was reminded of an old saying. The winds howl on the mountain, heralding a coming storm. The horizon ahead was already darkening, and on the Cross River Bridge, traffic was backed up in long, snaking lines. The old injury in Liam's throat began to ache. He clutched his neck and coughed a few times before taking out his phone and sending a message to Caleb. Rain tomorrow. Bring an umbrella. Caleb replied instantly, like I need you to tell me. And so, the next morning, Caleb decided to wait for Liam outside his apartment building. It was raining, and Liam had to go to work. The last thing he needed was for Liam to get soaked and catch a cold. He knew he would be the one dealing with the fallout. He parked his car near the community gate for a while, watching, and saw Finn emerge. The more Caleb looked, the more familiar the young man seemed. It was the same junior officer who had driven them to get checked out after their street fight. The one who was always trailing behind Liam, calling him captain with such cloying sweetness. Right? He was the one Liam had given Caleb's chicken leg to last time. What was going on? Were they living together? The more Caleb thought about it, the more it felt wrong. No wonder Liam hadn't let him inside the complex last time. His expression soured as he watched Finn swipe his keycard and ride out on a small electric scooter. His hands tightened on the steering wheel, a knot of jealousy forming in his stomach. He was a direct person. He knew if he didn't confront this kid today, he wouldn't be able to sleep tonight. Hey! Caleb got out of his car and stood in front of Finn. Hi, hello, you two, Finn stammered, recognizing him. He felt that anyone with an ambiguous relationship with his captain was trouble. He nodded, a nervous smile plastered on his face, and took a few steps back, preparing to flee. Caleb was faster, placing a hand on his shoulder. Wait, don't be in such a hurry. Sorry to ask, but why are you living here? Finn was dumbfounded. I've always lived here. What the hell was going on? He had just come back to grab a change of clothes and was in a rush to get to the hospital. Caleb eyed him suspiciously. Are you living with Liam? Or are you neighbors? In the same complex, alarm bells went off in Finn's head. He figured his captain must have his reasons. The idea of them living together in a romantic sense never even crossed his mind. He recalled Liam asking for his address before and, with newfound confidence, stated, yes, we live together. Caleb was stunned. What? He told me he lives with his dad. What the hell is going on? Finn, not thinking, blurted out, I am his dad, and then immediately corrected himself. No, I mean I live with the captain and his father. Caleb's eyes widened. What? You've already met his parents? I haven't even met his damn dad. The statement hit Finn like a thunderbolt, leaving him completely bewildered. What was happening? Caleb's eyes were red with a mix of anger and confusion. He had a gut feeling he was mistaken, but he couldn't stop the irrational emotions from showing. That Liam was something else, actually shacking up with a rookie officer and claiming he didn't know the way last time. Who was he kidding? But it didn't feel right either. The way Liam treated him didn't seem like an act. Met his parents? What? Finn was lost. I'm not even dating anyone. Hearing this, Caleb's rational mind returned. He bit his lip and turned away. After a moment, his voice was sharper when he spoke again. So where are you going now? Finn's gaze was drawn to his face, but he was too intimidated to speak. After a moment of chaotic thought, his brain kicked into gear. He ignored the question and began to explain frantically. Really? There's nothing between me and the captain. I'm just staying for a few days. I'll move out tomorrow. No, tonight, I'll move out tonight, right away. Caleb added, and don't look back. Finn continued, I'll leave at a run. Caleb added another, good. Leave like a river flowing east. Finn replied, I'll leave by any means necessary. Caleb slammed his hand on the hood of the car. Is he not letting you leave? He looked at his reddened palm and closed his eyes. Ow, my hand really hurts. No, I was just going along with it, Finn said, finally relaxing. The lies started flowing effortlessly. The captain can't wait for me to leave. I can't afford the rent, so I'm just freeloading off him, eating his food, using his things. I feel pretty bad about it. But I take out the trash every day, and I do the dishes. Caleb suddenly asked, do you do his laundry? Finn instinctively replied, yeah, no, not that. He could taste the jealousy now and immediately changed his tune, shaking his head with a sigh. What terrible luck. He then decided to add, for good measure, the captain is a very clean person. Caleb noticed Finn was still in his uniform, his forehead damp with sweat. He didn't look like he had just left home, but rather like he had come back to pick something up. He stared at him and repeated his question, where are you going now? Finn sniffled, feeling like he had made a huge mess. I'm gonna City General. One of the guys from my precinct broke his leg. About the captain, I think I can still salvage the situation with a few more words. No need, Caleb cut him off. I'll go deal with Liam myself. Et al. He fished his car keys out of his pocket and flicked his chin towards the car. Get in. Finn was taken aback. Huh? I'll give you a ride to the hospital. Don't take your scooter. You look exhausted, your face is pale. If you wipe out on the road, someone might worry. After saying it, Caleb wanted to bite his own tongue. He felt he had gone too far. This was just a silly fit of jealousy. Why drag someone else into it? Who would worry about me? Finn asked innocently. Wiping out on a scooter happens all the time. Sometimes we're riding along and feel like we're about to go flying the next second. All right. Caleb held the car door wide open. Seeing Finn still standing there, he chuckled. Get in, what are you waiting for? I know you're captain. What's wrong with helping out one of his team members? Still cautious, as he was in uniform, Finn hesitated. But it's not on your way. It is now, Caleb said. He took the bag of toiletries from Finn's hand, glanced inside, and sighed. You guys really have it tough. Finn finally took a look at his license plate and was stunned into silence. He swallowed hard. This was no ordinary car. His captain had some seriously powerful friends. Amazing. Finn and his colleagues had started at the bottom right after graduation. They had met a few officials, but they had never seen a license plate so ostentatious. The series of vertical lines was blinding, and the first letter seemed to announce the owner's status. This was the kind of car you only heard about in rumors driven by those people. Finn had heard stories about the accomplishments of a former city leader, and suddenly the car before him seemed sacred. Normally, given Caleb's high profile in previous years, anyone in the city system should have recognized him. But Finn was new and often out of the loop, so he only had a vague impression. He looked at Caleb, then pulled a jacket from his bag to cover his uniform, sitting up straight with nervousness. Caleb noticed Finn's tension in his peripheral vision and smiled, saying casually, I know what you're thinking. He reached out to turn on the AC. The name's Caleb, as in, well, I'm not sure what it's as in. Finn was confused again. Well, what direction does the wind blow? Caleb replied, wherever it wants. Finn's heart skipped a beat. He responded calmly, "Nice to meet you, Mr. Caleb. I'm Finn Taylor, an officer with the City Traffic Division, 4th Precinct. I'm a local, in my 20s. In your 20s, huh?" Caleb chuckled. "Too young to want people to know your age?" Finn turned to look out the window, uncomfortable. "Just in my 20s. Finn as in looking up. Taylor as in a tailor. When my mom gave birth to me, my dad was looking up at the moon. He wanted a daughter and thought he had to pray to the moon goddess. Then he got a son, so he named me Finn." Hearing the kid's sudden explanation, Caleb almost slammed on the brakes from laughing so hard. He questioned him, "Isn't your dad's last name Taylor?" Finn sighed that his mom's last name was Taylor, but he didn't want to dwell on it. He remembered Caleb's name and worked up the courage to compliment him. "Hey, your name sounds really nice. What does it mean?" Caleb grinned, grabbing a bottle of water from the center console and twisting the cap off with his teeth. He announced proudly, majestic and powerful. The two of them chatted idly the whole way, talking about things that would have given Liam a massive headache. After a 10-minute drive to City General, Finn had managed to make Caleb laugh repeatedly, and they got along surprisingly well. Once Caleb parked, he stayed in the car and lit a cigarette, cracking the window to exhale the smoke. He watched Finn go inside but didn't follow. The city was a constant flow of people, day and night, but it was always the entrance of a hospital that made him want to pontificate on life and death. He got out of the car and stood by a cherry vendor's stall, watching the myriad of human dramas unfold outside the inpatient building, feeling a sense of wrongness. He had been to hospitals many times in recent years and was always grateful that the children's hospital was separate. Occasionally, seeing a cartoon balloon accidentally released by a young patient float up into the sky would make him sad for a few seconds. Caleb stood there for a while, finishing his cigarette and stubbing it out on the rim of a trash can. He resolved to quit smoking. Every time he came to a hospital, he had the same thoughts. Take good care of his mother, help Josh drink less, convince his friend Landon to travel less for work, and smoke less himself. Now, perhaps there was one more. Caleb hoped a certain devastatingly handsome traffic cop would stay a little further from the dangers of the road and a little closer to him. But he still hadn't settled today's score with that man. Finn's few sentences had cleared things up, but Caleb was no fool. He could tell it was a fabricated story. It was rare for Caleb to trust someone, but once he trusted Liam, it was 100%. Even his strongest suspicions were slowly dissolving. He would just have to wait for Liam to explain it himself. When Finn got back to the precinct and settled at his desk, he started giving Liam secretive looks. Liam, naturally, felt his gaze and asked directly, "Is my name written on my face?" "No, that's not it." Finn was on the verge of tears, with no way to explain. He had no idea if the story Caleb had gotten would be the same as his version and decided to strike first. He beckoned to Liam. Liam was leaning against a metal filing cabinet, buckling his duty belt. Finn gestured to him several times. He nodded and said he'd be there in a minute. Getting his uniform right was more important. "Hey, Captain," Finn whispered. "It's about Caleb." Seeing his furtive expression, Liam froze, a gut feeling telling him that Finn bringing up Caleb couldn't be good. Liam yawned, his thumb hooked on his belt, and raised an eyebrow. "Spit it out." The order, delivered in a low but firm voice, carried authority. Everyone in the office who had been working with their heads down looked up. Finn felt the pressure mount. He figured he was doomed either way, so he threw caution to the wind. "Captain, let's talk in the back courtyard." Joe, who was fixing a computer under his desk, called out muffledly, "Finn, did you set the captain's cool motorcycle on fire?" Finn, did you steal the captain's girl? Ha ha ha. Finn, when the captain raises his hand, you better run. He hits hard. Man, at last year's combat tournament, he worked me over for days just to snag the championship from me. Finn's face went pale with fright. Liam couldn't help but laugh, then shouted, "Everyone get back to work. No more chit-chat." Stealing his girl, what kind of talk was that? Liam's eyebrow twitched, and he felt his eyelids start to jump too. He scanned the precinct office. The 7 or 8 people present were all diligently back at their tasks. Liam dragged the electric fan over to Joe, who was sweating profusely, and aimed it at him. "Joe, keep an eye on things for me. I'm taking Finn to the courtyard. Be right back." "Sure. You don't want the fan?" Joe was busy dismantling a computer tower and didn't look up. Liam tugged at his collar. "My heart feels a little cold," he said, for no apparent reason. And so, in the shade of the trees in the back courtyard, staring at a row of police motorcycles, Liam listened to Finn's account of what had happened. He nodded thoughtfully, feeling that Finn's description was quite objective. But wasn't the real problem that he was the one who shouldn't have lied to Caleb in the first place? His mind was a mess. He sent Finn back inside and found a spot by a wall to stand, staring blankly at the peeling paint. To be honest, it would be a lie to say it didn't bother him. Liam wasn't an idiot. He understood what one-sided deception meant in a relationship. He had come to this city from the beginning with a hidden identity to help his father, to start from the ground up. He hadn't considered that he and Caleb would come to truly feel the meaning of home together. Both of them had started out just playing around, and gradually it had become serious. Caleb had large, bright eyes with deep, double eyelids. At first, his gaze had been lazy and tired when he looked at Liam. Now it was becoming clearer, sometimes flashing with a look of concern that shook Liam's ironclad heart to its core. Of all of Caleb's features, it was his eyes that Liam found most irresistible, clear yet bewildered, just like his attitude towards life, understanding and yet confused. Liam wasn't one to procrastinate. He took out his phone and dialed Caleb's number. It rang only a few times before it was answered. "You finally remembered to call me?" Caleb's voice was a little hoarse, as if he had a cold. "Finn told me everything," Liam said, and then fell silent. He couldn't use another lie to cover this one. He had to see how Caleb would react. It was a gamble to see who would be the first to let it go. Liam couldn't offer an explanation on his own initiative. Without his father's permission, he had to maintain his cover. But hearing Caleb's raspy voice, he couldn't help but ask, "Do you have a cold?" "None of your business," Caleb retorted, his voice tight. "Does your commissioner know that his officers are dating each other?" "I'll report you." He knew it was probably a misunderstanding, but he didn't want to ask. He had to get a few jabs in to feel better. It was a habit he couldn't break. The more Caleb thought about it at home, the angrier he got, almost chewing the expensive wellness herbs he was steeping to bits on his sofa. He had been taking one a day with his mother, and instead of calming him down, they seemed to be making him more agitated. Right now, he just wanted to stuff a handful of them up Liam's nose. "Go ahead and report me," Liam said, holding back a laugh. "You have no idea you're trying to date the commissioner's son, do you?" Caleb continued, "What's your department's hotline number? Tell me. If not, I'll call the mayor's office." "No, I shouldn't speak carelessly. I'll call Sean. He's in charge of the youth league. He'll deal with you young people. Forget about all lovers finding happiness. I'm going to break up a pair of illicit lovers. You must be tired of living, daring to go behind my back." Liam replied calmly, 911. Then he recited Caleb's own phone number. "Or you could call this number." He's my future boyfriend. You can talk to him directly. He added, if you don't call, I will. Don't try to flirt with me. I'm not falling for that anymore. Caleb snapped. What do you mean by that? Liam asked. What do you think I mean? Caleb was almost laughing with rage. I don't mean anything. He hung up and rolled over, trapping the phone under his body. I don't mean anything. Us continuing like this doesn't mean anything either. He was wrapped in his blankets, a position that should have been comforting, but now he felt a sharp pain, as if he'd been stabbed. He was furious and wanted to laugh at himself at the same time. When he had said illicit lovers, he had distinctly heard Liam's breath catch on the other end. Caleb pinched his own arm hard, feeling incredibly childish. If we can still play, we'll play. If not, then forget it. If we can't play, then let's just date. Okay. He added silently in his mind. Things he once couldn't understand. These moments where reason failed, he understood now. In love, who could you reason with? It was all based on feeling. He liked Liam now, and he couldn't just cut it off. Caleb had never been one to wrong himself. Between 8 p.m. and 11 p.m., the temperature will remain at 60 degrees. A moderate southerly wind, cloudy skies turning overcast. High risk of catching a cold. Citizens are advised not to spend extended periods in air-conditioned rooms. The wind howled outside, carrying the rustling sound of the sycamore trees along the riverbank. The wind and sand scraped against the window pane, like someone knocking. In his groggy state, the announcer's voice became sharp and piercing, raising goosebumps on the back of Caleb's neck. No wonder he had been dreaming about a woman talking to him. Her words so fast he couldn't understand them. Click. Caleb reached out from under the covers and turned off the radio. He was still half asleep, squinting at the newly changed canopy above his bed, and yawned. Today it was crabshell gray. His mood, for some reason, was also not great. It was past 8, and no one had called him for dinner. They probably saw how tired he had been lately. Caleb rolled out of bed, went to the bathroom to wash up, and then crawled back into bed, his feet freezing. It was almost summer, yet it was still so cold. He kicked off the covers, about to get up, when he heard his phone vibrating. The phone kept buzzing, lost somewhere in the labyrinth of his bedding. Caleb's heart leaped with the hope that it was Liam. He scrambled frantically, his usual composure gone. He nearly tumbled off the bed before he finally fished the weakly vibrating phone from the foot of the bed and clumsily answered. Hello? It's me. Liam sounded out of breath, the wind roaring in the background. Come out to the balcony. Caleb tossed the phone aside, his ears filled with the man's voice, which seemed to carry the scent of damp air. And in this situation, again, he was torn between anger and joy, a mess of contradictions. When it came to speed, Caleb's body always moved faster than his thoughts. Unable to hide his excitement, he jumped out of bed barefoot, ran to pull back the curtains, and pushed open the French doors. He was alone on the balcony. There was no one else. Still groggy from sleep, he stared blankly as a pair of hands appeared, gripping the edge of the balcony. Only the fingers were visible, struggling to hold on, veins bulging. They couldn't pull up, nor could they let go. Caleb's heart stopped. Before he could scream, the hands disappeared, leaving only 10 finger marks behind. Liam? Caleb was wide awake now. He rushed to the edge of the balcony and looked down, but all he could see was the top of the magnolia tree in his front yard. Through the gaps in the leaves, he could vaguely make out the grape arbor, not yet bearing fruit. He walked around the balcony, calling out cautiously again, Liam? When there was no reply, he grew frantic, deciding to throw caution to the wind. He didn't care if anyone else was home. He propped himself up on his elbows, ready to vault over the railing to see if the man had really fallen. Just as he pushed off, about to yell Liam's name, the sound was cut short, caught in his throat. A man behind him, immensely strong, practically dragged him back from the balcony railing. Caleb wasn't short and he had some weight to him, but his body was limp with shock. Liam stumbled backward, hitting the wall hard. Caleb's rigid back pressed against him, forcing a grunt of pain from Liam's lips. They ended up in a heap on the balcony floor, one trying to escape, the other holding him fast, completely immobilized. Their breaths mingled, the restless energy between them escalating until it felt like a fight was about to break out. Liam was half lying on the tiled floor, his long legs splayed out. Caleb was half lying on top of him, their legs tangled together. He struggled to get up, but Liam's arms were locked around his waist, rendering him powerless. A sudden noise from outside made Liam instinctively roll over, shielding Caleb from a fierce gust of wind. A fallen leaf was caught in his hair, tucked behind his ear, adding a touch of softness to his otherwise rugged features. The image moved Caleb for only a second. The next moment, his eyes were red as he tried to push him away. "Let go." Liam didn't speak, acting like a cornered animal. He pressed against Caleb, holding him tightly. "Let go," Caleb repeated, trying to reason with him. "Let me go first." Liam didn't loosen his grip in the slightest. His voice, roughened by the wind, was a simple no. Caleb bit his lip. "Are you insane?" He was being held so tightly, he could feel the constant movement of Liam's Adam's apple. "Don't you dare come near me again. Still playing games with me? I really thought you fell." Caleb was lying on his back, fuming. He pointed to the railing. "Go stand over there. If I don't push you off today, I'll change my last name. Whatever you want to do, you can," Liam said slowly. "But on the points you made about it doesn't mean anything and not wanting to play anymore, I can't grant you those wishes." Caleb was at a loss for words. He could feel Liam's distress. In an instant, his resistance crumbled, and his body went limp, sliding down along Liam's. He ended up beside him, curled in the crook of his arm. "That's not what I meant," Caleb said. After hearing this, Liam suddenly spoke. "I'm sorry." Caleb was confused. "Why are you apologizing to me again?" "This is only the second time in total," Liam said, closing his eyes. "And I've meant it both times." Caleb remembered the last I was wrong was when he had complained Liam was being too aggressive. This time, he supposed, was because he had been too provocative. Thinking this, he looked up at Liam's sharp jawline and noticed that his profile was even more striking in the dark than in the daylight. He had the urge to take a knife, make a small cut, and let a single drop of blood fall on his chest like a cinnabar mole. Seeing Caleb's silence, Liam added, "I made a very, very big mistake." Caleb thought he was still talking about pretending to fall off the balcony. He patted his chest and his fingers found a small, old scar near his collarbone. Suddenly, his own heart ached. He whispered, "I'm trying very hard to forgive you." Liam let out a soft laugh. He knew Caleb didn't understand what mistake he was really talking about. He just added, "Then you have to remember what you said today." "A gentleman's word is his bond," Caleb said. When he was in a dark environment, he tended to become more talkative. "Unbreakable, unshakable." "Forget the bonds," Liam said. "Whatever you say, I'll chase it down myself." He looked down. Caleb was lying on top of him, his body cold. His eyes closed in a rare display of obedience, looking as if he were about to fall asleep. Liam propped himself up on his elbow, about to take off his jacket, when Caleb's eyes fluttered open. He said he wasn't cold. Liam looked down at him. Their gazes met, and sparks flew. Liam asked, "Are you still going to push me?" "Yes," Caleb replied, not backing down. The air grew thick again. Liam smiled, the corner of his lip curling. "Then I'll just climb back up." "You won't have to climb," Caleb said, rolling over and reaching out to hug him. "I'll just jump with you." A lump formed in Liam's throat. He suddenly understood what it meant to feel a surge of emotion, a stinging in his nose and a burning in his eyes. He wrapped his arms around Caleb in return, pressing his cool lips against Caleb's forehead. 1,000 promises and declarations of love were tangled up inside him, and he couldn't speak. Caleb was still a bit dazed, but he didn't want to argue anymore. He had a cold, and Liam didn't dare let him lie on the cold floor for too long. He helped him sit up and went inside to get a thick jacket. Caleb said he didn't want to go in. He opened 2 cans of sparkling water from the mini fridge in the room and downed one in a single gulp. He remembered the suffocating feeling of being completely restrained by Liam earlier and muttered, "You're really good at fighting. Learned it at the academy. I can teach you a few simple moves," Liam said, standing up and pulling Caleb into his arms, then casually demonstrating a few techniques. Caleb could clearly see he was just using it as an excuse to be close and asked with a glare, "Is this self-defense?" "Sort of," Liam said. "For close combat, you have to." He paused, pressing Caleb's waist to bring him even closer. He whispered in Caleb's ear, "Get closer." Caleb's ear tingled. He laughed, letting out a few soft hums to hide the fact that half his body had gone numb, and with a swift move, caught Liam off guard. Before he could savor his victory, Liam grabbed his wrist, flipped him over, and locked him in a hold, his knee pressing against the inside of Caleb's thigh, his hands gripping his shoulders tightly. Liam inhaled the scent behind his ear and said in a rough, panting voice, "I'm still more effective. You should just take me with you from now on." Caleb didn't say yes or no. He just went limp in Liam's hold and slid down to the floor again. The rain hadn't started yet. Liam had dragged a plush blanket out onto the cold tiles of the balcony. Caleb lay on it comfortably, enjoying the open-air feeling. Liam rolled over and gently brushed his eyelashes. He asked if he wanted a proper blanket. Caleb rolled his eyes. "You just want to lie on top of me?" Liam didn't nod, just looked at him, his gaze trembling. He grabbed a small throw blanket from the velvet sofa in the bedroom, spread it over Caleb, and wrapped him up like a burrito. Caleb's muffled voice complained, "It's hot. Why aren't you covering yourself?" Liam, who was wearing nothing but a t-shirt, simply said, "Because I'm hot too." He reached out and held Caleb tighter. His body was indeed warm. In this vulnerable position, Caleb felt like a drowning man clinging to a piece of driftwood. Even though they were acting like 2 lunatics, lying on a dark balcony under a sky that threatened a downpour. It was very dark. The balcony light was off. From the window of Caleb's bedroom in the expansive villa, one could see the distant river, with no other buildings to obstruct the view. As they lay there, though they could see nothing but the unlit crystal chandelier on the ceiling, they created a sense of atmosphere, as if they were on a deserted island watching the tide come and go. They were 2 young masters from a different world. They were 2 souls adrift, living a life of drunken dreams. At 7:05 this morning, 2 vehicles collided in the city, trapping 1 person. The traffic and fire departments responded quickly, using a front-end loader in a joint rescue effort. Caleb hadn't turned off the radio today but noticed it was a new announcer. Her voice was thin but powerful, reminding him of his elementary school science teacher. He closed his eyes and ate a few packets of dried mango, listening intently. The police would like to remind all drivers that with the recent continuous rainfall, Please be cautious on steep slopes and sharp curves to avoid accidents. He rubbed his face and got out of bed, his eyes heavy with sleep. He hadn't heard from Liam in almost a day. Caleb knew he was busy, working the night shift again, getting soaked in the rain. He was lucky he was strong. Otherwise, an illness could hit him like a ton of bricks. After thinking for a while, he couldn't shake his worry. Caleb took out his phone and searched for news on social media. The report said a truck driver was trapped in his cab, and traffic police had used a steel cable to pull it open. Caleb saw that someone had posted a video under the news report. It came with that the driver was injured and the condition of his legs in the cab might be disturbing. Caleb scrolled down for a long time, then, overcome by curiosity, scrolled back up and played the video. The footage was shaky at first, with many people in the background shouting, "Save him." Several men were shirtless, ready to help. But in this kind of accident, only professionals dared to get close. A large crowd of onlookers was shouting anxiously from a distance. Watching it made Caleb jumpy, constantly afraid the loader's chain would snap and hit someone. The front of the truck was half crushed, and the driver was stuck inside. Among the few traffic cops standing closest to the wreckage, Caleb had to practically glue his eyes to the screen to make out that the tallest one was Liam. The crowd had cleared a small space. Joe stood on the periphery, shouting through a megaphone, "Make way, everyone, please make way. Don't crowd around." The crowd didn't move much, but the presence of the officers at least maintained some order. The video continued to shake, but Caleb's eyes were fixed on the blurry figure, and then he heard a familiar voice. "1, 2, 3, pull." Liam raised his hand, and the loader was directed to wrench open the deformed cab. The sound of metal grinding against metal was deep and shocking. Onlookers exclaimed excitedly, "He's coming out, he's coming out." The video ended abruptly with a final cheer, lasting a full 4 minutes. The final frame showed Liam, his face obscured, standing motionless and catching his breath, the cuffs of his uniform soaked with sweat. After watching it, Caleb collapsed back onto his bed, staring blankly at the covers. For minutes wasn't long for an accident, but for him, it had been terrifying to watch, even though he had been at similar scenes before. Besides his shifts, handling accidents, patrolling, helping citizens, and writing tickets, what else did Liam do every day? What did he do in his free time? Caleb knew nothing about it. He thought about the things he knew Liam did: play cards, buy groceries, ride his motorcycle, take walks, go to bars, and climb through his window. Liam must have been a gecko in a past life. The more Caleb thought about it, the more his heart trembled. He took out his phone and sent a text to a friend who worked at the police department. "Caleb, hey man. Caleb, can you introduce me to a traffic cop?" There was no reply. Less than 10 minutes later, he had 3 new friend requests. Caleb was stunned. "Why so many? Caleb, what's this, a traffic law symposium?" His friend sent a voice message. "Caleb, my man, didn't you ask? These guys are super discreet, and they're really good, solid guys. Still in the closet. See if you hit it off with any of them. If it works out, just buy me dinner." Caleb was speechless. He replied, "Can't I just want to make a friend?" He put his phone back in his pocket, feeling dazed. Was this how everyone saw him? And what about Liam? Caleb thought of the flirtatious glances Liam had given him in the past and, for the first time, felt a pang of sadness. Damn, it was going to be really hard to change his image. Even if he behaved for a while, people would still say a leopard can't change its spots. The more he thought, the more depressed he became. That evening, he picked up his mother from work and drove her home. Then he went out again, bought several portions of late-night food, and drove over to deliver it to Liam. He had specifically asked around. The precinct said that after handling the accident that morning, Liam had already gone home to rest. The black Audi was parked on the side of the road by the main gate, all its lights off. Caleb wrinkled his nose at the still warm takeout on the passenger seat. The smell of it was too dry, too spicy for his taste. But he had heard that people from Liam's hometown loved this kind of flavor. "Hey, I'm here," he said into the phone, fidgeting with a lighter in his palm. "I'll give you 5 minutes. Get down here. The food's getting cold. And this delivery guy feels like he's in a bad neighborhood." "All right." Liam's voice was tight on the other end. "Wait right there or I'm giving you a bad review. You give me a bad review, and I'll poison you," Caleb retorted before hanging up and tossing the phone into the center console. His mood had improved considerably. Not 10 minutes after Liam had answered the phone, he was climbing over the iron fence in the back of the Peony Estates community. He was relieved he hadn't parked right at the main gate. If Caleb had seen him, it would have been game over. The fence wasn't high, but Liam, wearing a short-sleeved shirt, got a few shallow scrapes on his arm as he vaulted over. After landing steadily, he dusted off his hands and checked his pant legs. No mud. He let out a long sigh of relief and then turned to lock his SUV parked on the street. With the resident's key card Finn had given him in hand and an earbud wire draped over his shoulder. He walked quickly to the front gate, pointing at the Audi A6 parked by the road. As soon as Liam swiped his card and stepped out of the complex, Caleb's car started, its headlights flashing on, illuminating both their faces. Caleb was annoyed by his slowness. "You really kept me waiting. The food's cold. It's been 20 minutes since you told me to come." Liam was still catching his breath. "What are you panting for? You trying to have an asthma attack? What were you doing upstairs? Was your little friend home?" "What little friend?" Liam was confused for a moment before he realized Caleb meant Finn. "Have you lost your mind?" Caleb watched Liam get into the car and pick up the food, deciding not to press the issue. He obediently started listing the dishes. Fish head with flatbread, roasted lamb, rotisserie chicken. "Eat up. Your colleagues said you went home without eating. Don't you care about your stomach?" Liam laughed. "Why didn't you get me a stripper to go with it? I was afraid you'd be too mesmerized to eat. Then who would I have to mess with besides fried chicken all day?" Caleb gritted his teeth and stuffed a piece of flatbread into his mouth. "You're already stuck with me, and you still want to watch a stripper? I'll dance for you tomorrow." Liam continued to tease him. "Aren't you known as the one who leaves no trace?" Caleb scoffed. "Well, I'm leaving a trace now. I'm a tornado." "A tornado? So you take everything with you?" After hearing Liam's question, Caleb grabbed a napkin and wiped the corner of the man's mouth roughly. He said menacingly, "Officer Liam, even you are mine. What would I leave for you?" Liam could clearly see he was angry. He caught Caleb's hand as it tapped lightly on his collarbone and said slowly, "Leave me my life." Caleb processed the words. Then, remembering that Liam hadn't refuted his claim of "even you are mine," his mood instantly brightened. He reached out and pinched Liam's cheek gently. "Don't worry," he said. "I'll be gentle." Liam knew he was talking about what would happen in bed but didn't argue. He watched Caleb's eyes curve into happy crescents and smiled along with him. "In bed? We'll see about that." He had almost forgotten that he and Caleb were both tops. But over the past few months, Liam could clearly feel Caleb becoming slightly more submissive after they were intimate. Caleb was unknowingly being conquered by him, a fact that both excited Liam and made it difficult for him to control his impulses. Seeing Liam reach for his seatbelt, Caleb quickly said, "My mom's home. I have to get back early today." Didn't you say you were going clubbing and just dropped this off on the way? Caleb replied matter-of-factly, I lied. He desperately wanted to tell Liam that a new 5-star luxury hotel had opened on the inner ring road and ask if he wanted to check it out sometime. The more he looked at Liam, the more he felt his own ache, his back ache. It was almost a phantom pain. When the day finally came, he would have to ask the front desk for some toys, some ropes or something, and tie Liam up first. Get him to beg for mercy, to submit to him, and to be his bottom for the rest of his life. Seeing him staring into space with a sinister smile, Liam couldn't help but ask, "What are you plotting now?" Caleb spouted nonsense. On this parting moment, allow me to compose a poem. I live at one end of the river, you at the Peony Estates. I think of you day and night but cannot see you, yet we drink from the same river. He paused, getting confused. All he could think of was being a kid, holding a stick at the kindergarten gate and chanting, "This road is mine, this tree I planted. If you want to pass, you have to pay the toll." He suddenly regretted his past as a local bully. It was really hurting his image at critical moments. Liam's heart stirred. He asked, and then? He actually knew the next line was something like, "I only wish your heart was like mine, and I will not betray your love." But he didn't say it. He saw Caleb's confusion, leaned closer, and squeezed his soft earlobe, deliberately asking, "What does that mean?" Caleb rolled his eyes. "Don't ask. I hate you." For the next few days, it rained continuously in the city. When April and May arrived, so did the rainy season. The city was nestled against mountains and had a river, so the humidity was trapped, filling the air with a thick, sticky feeling. Caleb had been spending his afternoons at the auto shop, smoking and playing poker with Josh. The two of them were loud and boisterous, their shouts and laughter making even the cleaning lady smile. After winning all afternoon, Caleb was in high spirits. He pushed open the conference room door and leaned against a car in the showroom, boasting, "I won 10 grand this afternoon. Enough to buy..." He was about to say he could buy Liam a flashy new helmet, but suddenly remembered Josh was there and quickly shut up. Josh, looking grim from his losses, cursed at him. "Stand up straight. Don't lean on the car. It's still a car even if it's used. This thing is worth millions. If you break it, you'll be paying for it forever." Then he remembered what Caleb had almost said and grinned. "I see, who were you going to buy it for? Officer Liam?" Caleb came down the steps and patted his cheek. "I'll buy you a diamond-studded roll of duct tape to shut that mouth of yours. I'm a mister." "Caleb," the manager stammered, holding a phone at the front desk. "The employees in charge of accident claims went out today." Josh didn't understand. "We got a job?" Yes, a rear-end collision at the tunnel exit on the inner ring. A Rolls-Royce got hit. This is a big deal for our sales agency. The accident location is..." Before the manager could finish, Josh slapped Caleb on the back. "Time to earn your keep, my friend. It's your turn to repay me." The main reason was, he had a date with his own man later. Caleb wanted to roll his eyes, but in terms of shares, Josh was still his boss. Plus, he had won money from him today, so he had to indulge him. And besides, with Josh's business sense, Caleb was afraid if he went to secure the repair job himself, he'd get emotional and end up paying them. "All right, for the image," Caleb said. "Give me the keys to your multi-million-dollar car. It represents our shop's prestige. I have to be fast, I have to look good, you understand?" Josh didn't hesitate for a second, pulling out the keys and handing them over. He gave him a fist bump. "Go get brother." "Farewell," Caleb said and left without a backward glance. He grabbed a measuring tape, a camera, and had an assistant carry a case of water, then sped off towards the accident site. Dealership repair fees were notoriously high. Josh was the city's official Rolls-Royce sales agent, so he naturally had a right to a piece of the pie. Although insurance companies would assess the damage, Caleb had to get to the car owner first and secure the job. Getting rear-ended in a Rolls-Royce could easily mean repairs starting at $100,000, and with miscellaneous costs, it would be a hefty sum. Caleb drove frantically to the scene, only to find that a small, independent repair shop had already gotten there first. As soon as Caleb got out of the car, he saw the owner standing by his vehicle with a chome kulan, coughing and sighing. He quickly urged his assistant, "Water, water." The assistant promptly grabbed 2 cans from the car and handed them over. "Hello, sir, here's some water." Thank you," the man said. Caleb cleared his throat, preparing to introduce himself. "We're from 4th Precinct, City Traffic Division." A voice cut him off. Caleb looked up and almost choked. Wasn't that damn Liam? How did they keep running into each other everywhere? Liam glanced at him, cleared his throat, and continued addressing the car owner. "We've already reviewed the dashcam footage. Now, if you could please come over here to sign, we need to record your statement. The other party has already admitted full responsibility. The accident was handled so quickly." Caleb scanned the area. They were right outside the traffic division building, squarely in Liam's jurisdiction. A police car was parked across the street. That was fast. They didn't even need to make a call. A shout would have been enough. They really picked a convenient place to crash. The owner went over to give his statement, and the at-fault driver was also dealt with. Now it was a battle for the insurance and repair business. Accident scenes on the roadside had always been a fierce battleground for major dealerships. Liam sat astride his motorcycle, slowly putting away his pen, preparing to be a silent observer. The owner was clearly swayed by the independent shop's pitch, frowning. "But I didn't buy my car from you. Are all the Rolls-Royce dealerships in the city connected? Are they all the same?" The man from the indie shop insisted, Yes, they're all the same." Caleb, standing nearby, corrected him earnestly, No, they're not." Liam was holding back a laugh, one hand resting on the handlebar, the police radio on his chest still crackling. He couldn't listen anymore and suddenly spoke up. "Hey, your shop does excellent work." "We do all right," Caleb said modestly, almost bowing. "Officer, you should come by sometime. We'll give you a 50% discount." Liam raised an eyebrow. "Oh, really?" The owner heard this and, taking it as an authoritative endorsement, was taken aback. "Officer, do you know them?" Caleb and Liam looked at each other and said in perfect unison, "No." Doing business these days was tough. As soon as the words were out, Caleb turned to look at the body camera on Liam's chest. Liam naturally understood that Caleb was worried about him being accused of using his position for personal gain. He waved his hand as if to leave, unconcerned, simply saying, "You all work it out yourselves." The owner said, "There's only one authorized dealer in the city. With a car this nice, I'd rather pay a little more to have it repaired at an official dealership." Caleb nodded, while his competitor from the other repair shop looked dejected. They could never win against these big establishments. Seeing that the deal was sealed, Caleb stepped aside to carefully inspect the damage, shaking and nodding his head like an expert. By the time the company's tow truck arrived, it was almost noon. Caleb then slowly drove back, following the tow truck. Before he left, he glanced at the police car parked across the street. The red and blue flashing lights gave him a familiar sense of security. The drive back wasn't long. Caleb drove carefully, his eyes occasionally drawn to the buildings along the way. As he passed the hotel he had been thinking about, he pressed a little harder on the accelerator. The whole hotel was a supermarket, and every relationship that happened inside was just goods on a shelf. This city was terrifyingly large. 13 million people, 13 million ways to die. He thought of his friends who had moved here. They all said it was nice, comfortable, but no matter how long they stayed, they never felt a sense of belonging. Sometimes, even passing through a deserted corner of downtown felt bustling. The city's purpose was no longer for living, but for looking the part. It was a cruel kind of sophistication that attracted all sorts of strange young people. Caleb suddenly remembered riding on the back of Liam's motorcycle, crossing the river, going over the bridge, and taking the small roads. The city was full of dazzling lights then, but he hadn't felt this loneliness. Back then, it felt like there was a light shining just for him. When he was in school, he often passed this way, sometimes in a sedan, sometimes on a bike. He liked to call a bicycle a bike, just like he preferred moto to motorcycle. The shorter names just felt cooler. Near the luxury hotel, there used to be a bus stop next to a clock tower where a dozen white doves would linger, refusing food from passers-by. On rainy days, a ring of soggy breadcrumbs would always be scattered around the stone pillar. When he was young, he didn't want to be special, and he didn't know any better, so he insisted on taking the bus home. His mother told him there was only one bus line, so he should just get on whichever one came. Caleb was obsessed with Super Mario at the time and excitedly jumped onto the first bus that arrived. It wasn't until the bus reached a small town on the outskirts of the city that he realized several new bus routes had been added. The town was known for its jade market. Curious, he wandered around the market near the bus station and spent his return fare on a plastic bracelet. So he waited at the bus stop for 4 hours. Adults always said if you get lost, stay put. When he was finally found and brought home, there was a clay modeling competition at school the next day. Thinking it was a sign from heaven, Caleb, inspired by the jade carvings he had seen in the town, molded a nondescript creature and easily won first prize. Josh was jealous, remarking that it looked like a cow. Caleb insisted it was a Chelan, a mythical creature. Josh retorted that it was only because he had been to the jade town that everyone believed him. Caleb explained that great artists are forged through life's hardships. So after school, he dragged Josh back to the jade town, and they waited at the bus stop for another 4 hours. They had forgotten to bring money for the return trip. Josh suggested he sit on Caleb's lap to avoid paying for 2 tickets. Caleb shook his head, saying his thinking was improper. That night, both families were in a panic, almost mobilizing the city's police force to find them. By the time they were picked up, Caleb was comforting a tearful Josh, admitting that he had actually molded a cow. The next morning, Caleb headed straight for the sales office of a new real estate development. Landon had texted him in the middle of the night, saying that his cousin, Julian, had bought a ticket a few days ago to the neighboring state's capital, where Liam's family used to live. Whether it was a plane or train ticket, the flight alone was an hour. Julian traveling alone couldn't possibly be for tourism. Ever since losing a family member 2 years ago, Caleb had been cautious about anything involving Julian. Landon had repeatedly warned him over the phone not to be too obvious, to just pretend he was there to see the developer. See the developer? Caleb gritted his teeth. He was here to catch Julian today. Even if they didn't have a direct confrontation, he had to see the man's attitude, to see if he would even acknowledge him. "Ah, mister. Caleb, you're here." The receptionist in black high heels greeted him, her steps echoing on the tiled floor. She smiled and handed him a cup of tea. "The boss just mentioned." "Sure, I'm here to look at properties," Caleb said, taking the tea. He noticed the young woman's heels were high and slowed his pace. He stared at a promotional poster. Who came up with the name for this project? "Did you consult a fortune teller?" The receptionist replied, Our boss did." It was checked. It's very auspicious, very good. Caleb read the name on the poster aloud. Le Jardin Royal. Impressive, you'll be living quite far away. He chuckled. Your boss's taste never fails to disappoint. But hey, where's the garden? The city only has one river. You're not next to it. The receptionist quickly explained. Oh, that's just how they're named these days. You know, the peninsula, the manor. There are no islands or mountains, just mounds of dirt. Really, it's just for show. Caleb was speechless, but he had seen it all before. All those royal, noble, imperial residences on the market, as if living there would elevate your social class. They sounded like underground banks or counterfeit dynasties, inhabited by people from a bygone era. He took the brochures and walked inside, muttering, "There's a Victoria mansion next door. You guys are offering your clients a one-day European tour." When he entered the office, the developer was leaning back in his chair, spinning a mechanical watch in his hand. He looked like anything but a responsible adult. Caleb knocked on the doorframe. The developer quickly put the watch away, straightened his tie, and looked up. "Yes, holy crap. How did you get here so fast?" "Came to see your tacky naming scheme," Caleb said, tossing the floor plans on the desk, his eyes darting outside. "Where's Julian?" The developer replied, "He's upstairs in HR. He'll be down in a minute." Caleb nodded and found a sofa to sit on, sinking into it. "Did you move this sofa here from a nightclub?" "You found me out," the developer said, rubbing his face in embarrassment. "As long as it's comfortable, right? Don't ask where a hero comes from, and don't ask where a comfortable." Caleb looked up, his expression sharp. "Stop. I've quit." "Quit what? Sex? What's gotten into you?" the developer teased. "Haven't you slept with that traffic cop yet?" For the first time, Caleb's cheeks burned, and he turned away without a word. The feeling of having a secret suddenly exposed made his heart pound. But then again, who was sleeping with whom was still up for debate. The developer's expression also grew serious. "It's okay, man, honestly, being on the bottom is super comfortable too." "You?" Caleb shot up, feeling like he'd been struck by lightning. He was about to curse the bastard for not only messing with girls but now moving on to guys. But the next second, the developer held his head in his hands and explained, It was JJ Josh. Josh told me." Caleb was silent for a moment, then conceded. That little brat, was there anything he wouldn't say? He really should have bought that diamond-studded duct tape last time and sealed his expensive mouth shut. As they were staring at each other, Caleb's phone rang. Landon was rattling on and on. Caleb smirked, closing his eyes and nodding. "Oh, okay, all right, no problem. Got it." After hanging up, the developer was bewildered. "What's wrong?" Caleb rubbed his head. "Landon has a client on Sunday, a woman from the coast. He's afraid of meeting mature women, afraid he'll fall for her and give away the project. Plus, he has to go on a business trip, so he asked me to take her out for seafood." Landon often spoke in circles. Their communication relied on telepathy. Caleb thought for a moment and added, "He has no imagination. The woman is from the coast. Why would she come here to eat seafood?" The developer asked, "So how are you going to entertain her?" Caleb replied, "Something a little more exciting." After a short wait, Julian came downstairs with a file. He knocked and entered, seeing Caleb sitting on the sofa, playing with a pen. Julian's already narrow eyes squinted further, deepening the lines around them. It was only then that Caleb realized that in the 6 years they hadn't seen each other, Julian had aged. The year Julian was arrested, it was a rainy night. He was impeccably dressed. In the vast residential complex, his was the only disturbance. Caleb had watched as his aunt and uncle ran after the police car for a long way. They were in their 50s, kneeling in the rain, sobbing. Caleb had wanted to kneel with them, to comfort his elders. But his father had grabbed him by the back of the neck. When Caleb looked up, his father had roared, "What are you kneeling for? Stand up straight." "Long time no see, Caleb," Julian said, closing the office door. He was wearing a well-tailored suit, clearly having put some thought into his appearance. Caleb didn't reply or look up, his gaze fixed on the pen in his palm. He took a deep breath. The pen had a small, non-functional clock on its body, forever pointing to the same time, as if time itself had stopped. He slowly ran his thumb over the platinum-plated body and replied absently, "Julian." Julian nodded. "Yes, I just got back to the city. I'm working for the boss here now." Seeing that Caleb still hadn't stood up, Julian frowned. No matter what, he was still Caleb's older cousin. The developer, being perceptive, noticed Julian's fleeting displeasure and quickly stood up. "Julian, Caleb isn't feeling well today." Julian said slowly, "What's wrong? Did he catch a cold?" "Ate something bad," Caleb said, placing a hand on his stomach and lazily looking up. "I went out with a bunch of friends to a bar this afternoon, then had some spicy food. Now I'm here to look at a place for Josh. You remember Josh, right? He wants to buy a place to rent out." His voice was low and soft, as if he had actually done all those things. Sitting up straight, Caleb listened as Julian said, "You still love to have fun so much. Why go to a bar in the afternoon?" Caleb smiled, his eyes crinkling. "Carpe diem. Buying a house, we have to enter a lottery. But if you want to buy, the boss will definitely pull some strings for you." Julian smiled. 2 floor plans, one is 300 square meters, the other 400. The price difference is $3 million. If you're lucky, you can choose. "Oh, and it comes with a basement." Julian, Caleb suddenly interrupted. "In the 1 or 2 years since you've been out, have you been to see aunt and uncle? Have you seen my dad?" Julian was in for 6 years. The first year, the family was still peaceful. The second year, his wife remarried with their child. The third year, trouble was brewing. The fourth year, his aunt died of a broken heart. The fifth year passed, and just as Julian was about to be released at the beginning of the 6th year, his uncle was diagnosed with cancer and died with his eyes open 2 months before Julian's release. Caleb was already of age then, in his early 20s. He was peeling a hard-boiled egg for his uncle, about to mash it in a bowl, when he looked up and saw his uncle's eyes roll back. He quickly called for the nurses. Although they couldn't save him, Caleb remembered clearly what a person looked like before they died, in their final moments and after. He never ate egg whites again. Julian just said, "The year before last, the offering was a brand of liquor, last year it was another, right?" "Enough." Caleb stood up abruptly. As if chilled by the air conditioning, he sniffled, his voice hoarse. "I have to go." He didn't say anything more to Julian, but turned to look at the developer. The developer patted his shoulder comfortingly. "If you have something to do, go ahead. Come back and look at the properties when you have time. I've saved the best units for you and Josh, apartments, villas. I don't have the money." Caleb forced a smile. "You can keep them and sell them yourself. Just look at the names you've given them." On his way out of Le Jardin Royal, he saw 2 paper lanterns hanging from a tree by the street. From a distance, it looked like someone was climbing it. Caleb suddenly remembered that it was a local custom to light lanterns when someone died. There must have been a recent car accident here. He slowed down, a wave of sadness washing over him. He wondered when he would have to go to the mountains this year to burn offerings for his father. He still couldn't face Julian properly. He felt that Julian standing there was like a murderer. If his father had been willing to use his private power to suppress the matter back then, Julian wouldn't have gone to jail, and his parents wouldn't have been so devastated as to die one after the other. Caleb thought that Julian must have thought this way, must have held this resentment. But life was unpredictable, and time couldn't be turned back. Even if he had foreseen the later accident, Caleb didn't think his father had done the wrong thing back then. There was a place on this road that served delicious beef and tofu pudding, often sprinkled with chili for color. His father used to go there often. After a while, his identity was no longer a secret. For some reason, the place became famous in the city. His father stopped going, but Caleb would occasionally get takeout for him. Later, Caleb only remembered one day seeing the red chili oil spilled all over the ground, the tender tofu smashed to bits. Even after it was cleaned up, you could still smell the enticing aroma. There was a large jar by the shop said to be from the early Republican era. The rim of the jar was polished smooth from years of use, and now it was used to hold chili oil. Caleb parked his car, went in, and ate a bowl of tofu pudding alone, the spiciness bringing tears to his eyes. In the middle of it, as if by telepathy, his mother called, asking where he was, a strange panic in her voice. Caleb just said he would be home soon. On the weekend, Caleb went to the dealership again to follow up on the rear-ended car. Since he had taken the job, he had to see it through. After a busy morning, he went home and, instead of knocking, used his key to open the door. As soon as he walked in, he saw his mother, Eleanor, leaning back in a soft chair, embroidering. The table was covered with soft satin, and she was using colorful threads to create small, intricate pieces. She was holding the loose threads too tightly, and when she pulled, one snapped right where it shouldn't have. "Oh dear," Eleanor sighed. Her stitches, which were supposed to be connected, were now all messed up. The lotus petals were curled, tangled into a wavy pattern. Eleanor took off her reading glasses and placed them on the table, letting her hair fall over her shoulders. She feigned annoyance. "Why did you have to come back at this exact moment? You scared me and made me mess up." "Mom, you can't be scared so easily." Caleb stood in the entryway with his hands behind his back, not daring to come closer. "Just keep embroidering, keep going. It's the weekend, you're not working, you have plenty of time. I'll go upstairs first, and then I'll come down and put on some opera for you." Seeing her son humming and trying to cheer her up, Eleanor decided not to argue. She packed up her sewing kit and rolled up the fabric. "First, go pour me a cup of tea. The housekeeper is cleaning the flower pots in the yard. Go to the second floor and get some of that special green tea, the one Josh brought last time." Caleb tiptoed upstairs, too lazy to bother, and took the elevator down to the first floor, then slipped into the kitchen. The boiled mineral water was so hot it made him gasp, and he muttered to himself, "Why is it so hot?" While waiting for the water to cool, Caleb took out his phone and saw he had a missed call. It was from Liam. When he called back, Liam said, "I cooked today." Caleb dragged out his reply. "Oh," Liam continued, "but I burned my hand." A tightness gripped Caleb's heart. He said uncomfortably, "Oh, so it finally happened to you?" Liam chuckled. The fish was still flopping when it hit the pan. "My first instinct was to press it down with my hand." "Are you an idiot?" Caleb was angry. "You cooking? You should just jump in the sea." Liam laughed. "All right, I have to get back to work. Nothing else. Just wanted to tell you." Caleb, "Oh." Liam, "And maybe get some sympathy." Caleb, "How old are you?" Liam replied smoothly, 27. "Older than you in every way." 27. More like 250. Caleb hissed into the phone, his breath fogging the microphone. "Age doesn't matter. It's about who's better in bed." Understand? All right then, Liam agreed. We'll have a competition sometime. He heard Caleb's breath on the other end, amplified through the phone, thick and heavy, pressing down on all the rising excitement in his heart. It was like the sun bursting over the horizon, its light about to pour out. Before hanging up, Caleb let out a mischievous laugh. Sure, let's do it some other day. By the time he finished the call, the water for Eleanor's tea was lukewarm. Caleb poured more mineral water into the kettle and reboiled it. Eleanor, seeing him dawdling, came to the kitchen and saw him constantly glancing at his phone screen. She asked suspiciously, "Son, are you dating someone? Why are you always staring at your phone? Your eyesight is already bad. Do you want to lose it completely? You've been acting strange for the past few months." Caleb's heart skipped a beat. His mother was as perceptive as ever. He placed the teacup on a tray and explained calmly, "I'm not. If I were, wouldn't I bring her home for you to meet? Don't bring any of your messy acquaintances home," Eleanor said with a stern face. "I've only stopped nagging you to get monthly checkups because you've been behaving these past few years. Be careful. You're your father's only son." Caleb's voice was a little hoarse. Eleanor handed him a bottle of medicine. He shook the packet and realized it was the herbal remedy he used to drink as a child. He thought of Liam and closed his eyes in mock pain. He said to Eleanor solemnly, "Mom, after I drink this, I will never be poisoned by love again. So you're Caleb, handsome, tall, fair-skinned. How are your eyes bigger than mine? I even had surgery on mine, and man, it hurt like hell when they did it. The doctor wouldn't even let me scream." The woman spoke as she pulled a chain strap from her expensive handbag. Her nails were painted a bright, fiery red, making her pale, delicate hands stand out against her black alligator skin bag. She covered her face and laughed, her eyebrows raised in delight. "I just got injections yesterday, so I can't do anything too strenuous today. You can ride. I'll watch from the sidelines." Caleb's mouth twitched. He composed himself and looked at her. He felt it would be rude to ride the horse, a magnificent creature named Ferrari, alone while leaving the client here. He took off his white gloves and patted Ferrari's back. "MS. Stone, don't call me MS. Stone, it makes me sound old. Call me Vera or V. Whatever you like," Vera said, squinting, almost touching the filler in her nose. "If I had known I'd be riding with a handsome young man today, I wouldn't have gotten them done yesterday. What bad luck." Caleb coughed, unsure of what to say. He had just picked up Vera, who had been sent by a driver, from outside the equestrian club, only to find out she had gotten fillers the day before and couldn't eat or play properly. Caleb had a gut feeling he was going to mess up Landon's reception for her. Vera was stunning, with the kind of high-fashion face that was popular now. She wasn't tall but had an incredible presence. Her designer clothes were worn with such confidence that they became mere accessories to her. He had heard she was in risk management and had come to the city specifically to help Landon, a trip that would take several days. Later, he would have to take her to dinner with some people from the city, which would likely end in a drunken night. She was disappointed that he wasn't riding and insisted on seeing him do something cool. Caleb was wearing cream-colored breeches today, which gave him a clean, captivating look. He walked a few steps to loosen his shoes, then buckled his riding boots and took the reins. He grabbed the part near the bridle and swung himself onto the horse. He sometimes held the reins with his right hand, whatever was more comfortable. He straightened his knees, brought them close to the withers, and slipped his feet into the stirrups. The horse's flank was soft. He was about to look down when he met Vera's gaze and was inexplicably reminded of watching Liam get on his motorcycle. Vera suddenly asked, "Caleb, are you seeing someone?" Caleb nodded, then shook his head. "Is that a yes or a no? Or does it not matter?" Vera laughed, pursing her lips as if she had thought it over, then couldn't help but ask, "Man or woman?" The stirrups were uncomfortable. His mind was a mess. He avoided the previous question and answered directly, "Man." She was busy reapplying her lipstick and said with a coy smile, "Hey, people here are pretty open-minded. They entertain you, they come out. Aren't you afraid I have some other connections?" "Connections?" Caleb stroked the horse's mane, holding the single rein tightly, and didn't reply. Who in this world could truly see another's background? Human relationships were so complex. Distant relatives, close relatives who didn't have 20 or 30 of them. He dared say he knew which of his relatives had been to this very equestrian club. He rode the horse until his cheeks were flushed, looking like a gallant knight on a battlefield. Caleb rarely let himself go like this, but he felt he was showing his true self to Vera. After all, they were both direct people, and Caleb trusted his judgment of character, so he didn't hold back. After the club, Caleb got into the arranged car and took Vera to dinner at a high-end restaurant. The place specialized in braised dishes and was incredibly fancy. Caleb finally understood that luxury dining was a surefire way to make money. If the decor was good enough, you could charge whatever you wanted for the food. The host had arranged the main seat, placed Caleb in the guest of honor seat, and Vera in the secondary guest seat. Usually, the appetizers had to be served within 10 minutes of the main guest's arrival. Caleb stared at the spread of 8 cold dishes, 8 hot dishes, for meat, and for vegetable, his head spinning. There were many familiar faces at the dinner. Caleb toasted each of them on Landon's behalf. After a few glasses of strong liquor, he was dizzy, almost forgetting his own name. He was on the verge of retreating when he went to the restroom to splash some water on his face, leaning against the sink to catch his breath. He had managed to gather some information for his mother. These people were funding projects to boost their performance, making small adjustments here and there, playing within the rules. At the dinner table, they said everything, their voices loud after drinking, as if they wanted to make sure the young master heard them. Were they trying to provoke him? Did they really want a confrontation? Halfway through the dinner, he watched with a cold eye as the person who was most enthusiastic about paying the bill was usually not the one who would actually pay. He remembered when he and Landon used to team up. Landon would always nudge him and say, "You go for me." Once, the bill was so long the ink had smudged together. Caleb remembered looking down and thinking, "Damn, this food is expensive." In their circle, it was inevitable to run into people you didn't get along with. Someone even brought up Caleb's license plate, asking slyly, "So, Caleb, what's your plate number now?" Caleb just smiled mysteriously. Inside, he was screaming, 8 8s. How about that? He had no time for these boring people. He focused on eating and pouring drinks for Vera. All he could think was, what kind of pig did they have to find to make liver this delicious? Vera tapped him on the shoulder. He looked up quickly. Someone was toasting him. He almost blurted out pig but quickly changed it to your health. May all your wishes come true. Vera was a pro, handling every situation with grace, her slight accent not unpleasant at all. Perhaps her stunning looks masked the swelling on her face, but some clueless, greasy men at the table were still sending her suggestive looks. Vera smiled politely, linked her arm with Caleb's, thanked them quietly, and didn't give out her number. It was past 9 when they left the restaurant. Caleb, fighting the drunkenness, leaned against a wall to stand straight. He had just put Vera in her car, and she asked with some concern if he was okay. Caleb said he was fine and got in the car with her. He was drowsy on the ride, only feeling relieved after personally seeing Vera into the hotel elevator. When he got back to the car, Landon's driver asked worriedly, "Mr. Caleb, you drank so much tonight. Are you still going home? Or should I get you a room here to rest? I think my glass. It might have a mind of its own." Caleb held his head, half lying in the passenger seat. He reclined the seat, closed his eyes, and said slowly, "Take me to the Peony Estates." Meanwhile, Liam, following orders, had just finished a meeting with Finn, Joe, and Nico, and was now dropping them off one by one. Joe lived in a long, wide alley in the city center that always smelled of home cooking and daily life. They didn't drive him all the way in, just dropped him at the entrance. Finn was different. He lived by the river, and the roads were dark and slippery. Since Nico was heading that way anyway, he offered to give Finn a ride. Liam was in the passenger seat, his professional instincts kicking in. He scanned the passing cars, obsessively looking for a black Audi. He hadn't seen Caleb in a while and missed him terribly. After dropping Finn off at the back gate, Liam wiped the fog from the windshield. He thought back to the day he had climbed the fence here for Caleb and couldn't help but smile. He urged Nico, "Hurry up, let's go." The olive-drab Jeep wound its way through the alleys, passing the main gate of the Peony Estates. As if drawn by some invisible force, Liam glanced towards the guardhouse. When passing residential or school zones, Nico always habitually slowed down, so Liam clearly saw the man sitting on the bench. "Stop the car. Nico, stop." Liam slapped the dashboard. The screech of the brakes was jarring. Nico, startled by his own sudden stop, asked, "Liam, what's wrong? You go back on your own," Liam said, quickly opening the door without looking back. "I saw Caleb." Nico scrambled to get out, then remembered he couldn't be seen. "What's he doing here?" Liam explained, "I lied and told him I live here." "No, don't stop me." Nico thought for a moment and said, "Hey, Liam, I can wait for you?" Liam shook his head, calming down. "You go back. Caleb can't see you." Still worried, Nico suggested calling a car to take Caleb away, but Liam lost his temper. "Get back. Now." The order was given, and Nico couldn't argue. He cast a few more worried glances before speeding away. He was just afraid Caleb would cause some trouble. The people in their circle were notoriously malicious. He didn't know Caleb well, only that he was wild and probably not clean. The streetlights at the community gate were dim. A few withered peony flowers drooped beside a tall stone sculpture. The security guard stood at his post, straightening his back when he saw someone approach, thinking it was a resident. He was about to open the gate automatically when he saw Liam walk straight towards the bench outside the guardhouse. "Caleb?" Liam knelt down and put his arms around him. "Are you awake? Can you talk? You were fast today." Caleb's eyes were half closed, his breath thick with the smell of alcohol. As he spoke, he was choked by the fumes and coughed violently, tears welling up in his eyes. He seemed to remember something and exclaimed, "Wait, I haven't even called you yet." He was drunk, so drunk he was crying. Liam gently wiped the corner of his eye, his heart tightening. He scolded him, "You've been here for a while. Why didn't you call me?" "Hey, is that your brother? He's been sitting here for half an hour. You should get him home," the security guard interjected. He took out a logbook and started writing, muttering, "You don't know, I had to watch him. Couldn't leave for a second." Liam took a $100 bill from his pocket, folded it, and handed it to him with both hands. "Thank you for your trouble." I was afraid I smelled too much like alcohol," Caleb mumbled, his eyes drooping. He draped an arm over Liam's shoulder and whined, "You're disgusted with me." His voice, by the end of the sentence, was so full of grievance it was about to break. Caleb was rarely this vulnerable. Once he was on Liam's broad shoulders, he didn't want to let go. Liam sighed and whispered in his ear, "Disgusted with you? I don't have enough time to dote on you. You lied to me." Caleb's hair had grown longer and was sticking to his temples. Liam tucked it behind his ear, and Caleb murmured softly, "That tickles." The guard took the money and went on his night patrol with a flashlight. Liam knelt down and rubbed Caleb's back. Caleb's coughing was intermittent. He mustered his courage and asked, "Want to get a room?" He was genuinely afraid Liam was disgusted with him. When it came to the person he loved, Caleb had to admit he always felt a little insecure. He, a well-known good-for-nothing heir who spent his days in bars and nightclubs, felt like he was tainting a sunflower by being with Liam. He was afraid Liam would judge him for his past, afraid Liam wouldn't believe him, and even more afraid of being considered unclean. He was trying. The closer he got to Liam, the closer he felt to the sun. Liam, oblivious to these absurd inner workings of his mind, just thought he was very drunk. The strong smell of alcohol didn't bother him. He reached out and felt Caleb's sweat-soaked back, coaxing him, "Your back is all sweaty. Let's get a room and take a shower first. Okay?" "A shower is fine, but you can't leave after," Caleb said in a muffled voice. "You have to stay until tomorrow morning." "I won't leave tomorrow morning either," Liam said, lifting him up. Caleb asked, "So what are we doing tomorrow morning?" Liam swallowed hard. Continuing. Caleb giggled foolishly and wrapped his arms around Liam's neck, not letting go. "That's more like it. What's the point of drinking if you're not going to get laid?" Liam sat on the curb with Caleb in his arms, using his hand to shield their faces from the dusty wind. The alleys around the Peony Estates were winding, and taxis rarely came this way. Here he was, with his drunk partner, unable to find a hotel, sitting on the roadside in the middle of the night. Liam swore he had never been this pathetic since coming to the city. He had a small scooter parked at Finn's place, but he'd have to go into the complex to get it. He was about to carry Caleb over when he saw a three-wheeled pedicab slowly approaching. In this day and age, pedicabs were a rare sight. The old man pedaling it had a canopy over the top, which looked quite cool. Liam waved him down, not caring about anything else. "Excuse me, sir, are there any decent hotels nearby?" The man looked to be in his 50s, smoking a traditional pipe. He took a puff and glanced at them. "There's a guest house at the end of the alley." Liam asked, "Anything better?" "The most expensive. That'll be a 10-minute ride." At the end of the street, around the corner from the restaurant, there's a new 5-star hotel. "Man, it's $2,000 a night. You young people sure know how to live." Liam nodded. "All right, please take us there. We'll make it worth your while." Caleb shouted, "That's so expensive." "No, you only make so much a month." Even drunk, he still had the presence of mind to save face for his man. Over $2,000 a night, that was $4,000 or $5,000 for 2 nights. If Liam paid for that kind of room, they couldn't even sleep past noon the next day without being charged for half a day more. $3,000 of his salary would be gone just like that. And he had said they were going to continue the next morning. He could still do that math. Caleb clutched Liam's sleeve in agony and declared heroically, "I'm willing to stay at the guest house. They provide amenities too." After a few seconds of stunned silence, Liam pinched his cheek. "Can't I have a secret stash of cash?" The old man put his pipe in a plastic bag and hung it on the handlebar, sizing Liam up. His old, faded eyes scanned him, and then a smile appeared. "Young man, you're a cop, aren't you?" Before Liam could answer, Caleb, still in his arms, blurted out, "Cop's wife." The old man finally noticed the drunk man and asked in surprise, "What did he say?" "He's introducing himself," Liam said with a smile, pulling down the back of Caleb's collar to let some air in, afraid he would overheat. Once they were in the pedicab, the old man started pedaling with surprising speed. Liam found himself wondering if the traffic division even allowed these things on the street. Caleb was clearly not sober. He leaned against Liam, grabbing his hand and whispering, "Tell me, honestly, are you a cop?" Liam played along. "Yes." "And do you know what you are?" Before Caleb could come up with some nonsense, Liam leaned in and bit his earlobe. "You are what a cop does." The man's ears had a slight point to them, and Liam couldn't resist rubbing his cheek against them, his voice dropping to a seductive whisper. "You know, only elves have pointed ears." Caleb hummed, "I'm an annoying elf, a clingy elf." "So what?" Liam smiled, calming down. "Nothing." Caleb asked, "And what about you?" "I'm a mortal," Liam said. He then suddenly squeezed Caleb's hand. Caleb, though his senses were dull, flinched and squeezed back tightly. There were some things he wanted to save for 60 or 70 years, to say at the very end of his life. He didn't care if anyone would be there to listen then. Didn't they say a lifetime was long? How had a quarter of it already passed? Caleb's eyes opened, and he noticed their mode of transportation. His eyes lit up and he shouted, "A sports car." Then, as if all his energy was drained, he sighed, "Too bad it's a little slow." Liam's mouth twitched. "Person is making it go." Caleb looked up and grinned. "Wow, a convertible." He was silent for a moment, then shouted at the old man, "Sir, can you drift?" Liam pushed him back down. "Behave." "Okay." Caleb conceded, trying to explain, "I'm drunk. I'm sorry." The night air in late spring was heavy. The road along the river was narrow and crowded. But everything before Liam's eyes came alive because of Caleb's, which seemed to hold all the colors of spring. Liam held him tightly, fiercely protective. He was afraid they would hit a speed bump and the jolt would send Caleb flying out. Seeing Caleb close his eyes again, he looked up at the starry sky, about to get lost in thought, when he heard a familiar sound in the distance. It was the real roar of a sports car engine, like tons of water boiling, surging towards them from the end of the road. The entire street was filled with the noise. As a traffic cop, Liam was instantly on alert. He sat up and looked out. In the blink of an eye, a dark blue supercar sped past. From the shape of its spoiler and the flames shooting from its exhaust, it was a Lamborghini. "Stop for a moment, sir," Liam said, suddenly grateful for the old man's slow pace. They weren't far from the Peony Estates. "I'll leave him in your car. I'm going back to get my vehicle. I'll be back in 5 minutes." The old man stopped, relit his pipe, and said, "Back to where we came from?" "Sure, I'll watch the kid for 5 minutes. If you're not back, I'll sell him." Liam heard this, jumped out of the pedicab, and ran back the way they came without a second thought. The old man had only taken a few puffs of his pipe, about 7 or 8 minutes, when he heard the sound of a motorcycle approaching. He hadn't even heard a peep from the drunk kid in the back. Liam pulled his motorcycle to a stop, handed the old man a bill, and lifted Caleb onto the back seat. He nodded at the old man. "Thank you for your trouble." Then he took Caleb's hands and arranged them around his waist. He took off his own shirt, twisted it into a rope, and tied it around Caleb's waist, securing him to his back. The night wind carried dust and sand, making it hard for him to see. Liam turned his head and whispered to Caleb, "Hold on to me tight. You hear?" Caleb hadn't opened his eyes since getting on. He mumbled a yes and nodded. Liam said again, "If you feel like you're about to fall, grab onto me. That way you won't get hurt." Understand? Caleb nodded, then shook his head. He just instinctively held the man tighter. The two repeated understands were like talking to a child. He liked it. Liam had said hold on tight to him countless times on the motorcycle. This time it was much more serious. Caleb heard it and, like an octopus, held on obediently, not daring to mess around. Besides, Liam was shirtless, and the feel of his muscles was incredible. His palm rested on the hard, defined abs, and he traced the shallow grooves between them, wanting to leave his own mark there. "Help! Liam is streaking," Caleb called out weakly, turning his face to a more comfortable position against the man's smooth, powerful back. "Help! The captain of the 4th Precinct and the second-in-command of Black Hole Auto are eloping." Liam had never asked Caleb why the auto shop was called Black Hole, as if once a customer's car went in, it never came out. The wind roared, and the sound of the sports car at the end of the road was about to burst his eardrums. Liam chased after it, forgetting how much he was speeding. He had been professionally trained and controlled his speed well. After chasing for a few hundred yards, he saw another modified sports car fly by. This was an organized underground street race. The spoilers were illegal, the paint jobs were illegal. Even being on the road was a violation. If Liam remembered correctly, the road ahead led to a large traffic circle, next to a private elementary school. Luckily, it was late at night. Otherwise, the consequences would be unimaginable. He was on his motorcycle with a passenger, chasing for over 1,000 yards when he heard a sharp, piercing braking sound from the end of the road, followed by the blare of a horn. Then, another braking sound. A series of them in order. And this was a two-way street. Oncoming traffic would be extremely dangerous. Although the road was narrow and less traveled, it was a major artery. After getting off the highway from the neighboring city, all vehicles had to cross the river bridge and pass through here to enter the city. Fortunately, it wasn't a holiday, so there were fewer cars entering the city than usual. And it was midnight, so Liam hadn't seen any other cars on this road yet. He slowed down. Through his helmet, he saw the faint red and blue flashing lights at the curve ahead, familiar yet strange. A checkpoint? Liam was hesitant. He didn't remember any road closures scheduled for these few days. This road didn't require a detour. Could these people be bold enough to impersonate traffic police to block the road, just to create a space for their late-night race? Suddenly, another car sped past him, so fast Liam couldn't make out the model. He estimated its speed was over 100 miles per hour. On his motorcycle, Liam couldn't take out his phone. He had to keep chasing. When he was about 300 or 400 yards from the traffic circle, he heard a loud screech of brakes, followed by the dull thud of a heavy impact. He was all too familiar with the sound of a car crash. The sound of metal on metal, a destructive friction. His arms on the handlebars trembled, and he forced the motorcycle to a stop. There had been an accident ahead from someone trying to drift. He couldn't go any further, and he had Caleb with him. His gut told him not to get too close. He stood on the small road by the river with one person and one motorcycle, shirtless. Another car passed by, but it wasn't going fast. He hadn't paid it any attention at first, but when he saw it was a sedan, he became curious. He noticed it was all black and grew alert. The sedan then made a U-turn and stopped on the side of the road not far away. A door opened. Liam instinctively straightened his helmet and used his shirt to cover Caleb's face. A middle-aged man got out of the car and walked out of the shadows. When his face was fully illuminated by the streetlight, Liam's heart seemed to stop for a second. It was his family's driver. The man who had driven him to and from high school, who had worked for his father for 10 years. He wasn't looking in their direction. He had just stopped the car and was pacing back and forth, talking on the phone. He took a few steps, then slowly turned towards where Liam was. The shock lasted only a second. Liam whipped around, dragged Caleb off the motorcycle, and pushed him against the wall by the road. Caleb was shoved against the wall, his mind fuzzy, and he ended up sitting on a trash can. He frowned. "What are you doing? If I stink, it's your fault. You're ruining my natural scent. Make some noise," Liam said urgently, lifting the hem of his shirt and touching his back. Louder. Caleb was feeling sick from the alcohol and was relieved he didn't feel like throwing up. He said in a low voice, "What's wrong?" "We're hooking up," Liam said quickly, with no time to explain further. Caleb was stunned and refused to cooperate. His eyes red as he cursed. "Weren't we getting a room? You have some weird kinks." With his back to the road, Liam could see the approaching shadow of the man under the streetlight. He held Caleb's wriggling waist and said sternly, "I ran into an old acquaintance." Although he had never been in this situation before, Caleb still had some sense. He remembered Liam telling him to make noise and quickly understood. He let out an unrestrained moan. Caleb was bold. He exposed a section of his pale arm, wrapped it around Liam's back, pulled him forward, and let out a gasp. "Ah!" After the he was stumped. What was he supposed to say next? It had been a long time since he'd done anything like this, and in the heat of passion he was just venting. He couldn't remember what to say. He had never moaned for anyone before. He was running on pure instinct now. Liam was tall and completely shielded him. Seeing Caleb fall silent, he whispered in his ear, "You're amazing." "Yes, just like that." He pressed against Caleb, grinding slowly. Caleb put on a fake, seductive voice and whimpered, "You're so good." The shadow stopped moving. Liam held back a laugh and kissed him randomly. As if taking advantage of the situation, he whispered in his ear again, "My man is the best." He heard the man on the phone say, "Almost there. Just saw two guys hooking up on the side of the road." Disgusting. After saying that, the man hung up and walked back. Liam didn't dare stop. Their hair was soaked with sweat. Caleb had even warmed the lid of the trash can he was sitting on. He was thankful that few people passed by here and it was relatively clean. The black sedan started, made an illegal U-turn over a solid line, and drove back the way it came. Liam sneered. He probably knew there was an accident ahead and didn't dare to go further. He would have to remember that violation and deal with it later. After the man drove away, Liam, as if on purpose, squeezed Caleb's butt and bit his neck. Caleb was furious, his drunkenness forgotten. He choked back a sob. "Liam, you're such a bastard. You have a gift. It would be a shame not to use it for me," Liam said. He was still reeling from the shock. After all, that was someone he had spent a lot of time with. Although they weren't related by blood, positions like driver, nanny, and butler, when held for a long time, become almost like family. Liam's mind was in a turmoil. He wanted to ask his father if he knew. Fortunately, he had just spoken to his father that afternoon. Otherwise, he would be worried sick right now. Caleb saw his concern and patted his shoulder comfortingly. "What's wrong? Do you know him?" "An uncle, I've met him," Liam said sullenly. "Don't worry about me." They straightened their clothes, and Liam brushed his fingers over the love bite on Caleb's neck. Caleb was still drunk, and his head started to ache. He leaned against Liam's back, complaining about this and that pain. He clung to him, not letting him go on alone, and slurred, "If you go any further, I'm calling the police. It's that guy's car, right? They wouldn't dare to report the accident themselves. I'll report it for them." After saying that, Caleb took out his phone, ready to dial. Liam glanced at him but didn't stop him. He just knelt down on the riverbank, looking at the black sedan parked on the curve of the road. A few minutes later, the police arrived quickly, with almost half the precinct showing up. Liam had chased them for miles and was exhausted. He put Caleb in a squad car and got back on his motorcycle. Caleb wanted to stop him but held back. He thought about it and realized Liam was right. Everyone had different responsibilities, different jobs to do. He had taken on this burden, so he had to bear its weight. So many things that were meaningless to some people, duty, responsibility, carried immense weight in his upright frame. As Liam left, Caleb watched him go, a mix of pride and fear in his heart.